Hello, my name is Bianco. In this video I will talk about a fictional story, so all names and info are pure fiction. It's today the 14th anniversary of the burglary that happened on August 15th, 2009. I was emigrated to USA in 2007, and I did live back then at the place from Steve. He had a daughter named Lauren. They lived in a house, I lived there too, and on August I did go to Switzerland, back to Switzerland, to organize more of the knives that I'm known for. And I was out of the country on a different continent, and then the burglary did happen, and that caused to the day quite some damage and a change in my life in quite a drastic way. So I want to talk a bit about that, because we have now 14 years that did happen, plus some news and some more information how karma, I call it karma, how life or karma, whatever you want to call it, deals with criminals and bad people, and how that all hangs a bit together, and that you, if you have been a victim like I was, that you need to have patience, that it's gonna work out in the long run, one way or another, and that you can't give up on a good thing. So back to the burglary. Steve was having at that time his birthday, and he was out to celebrate that in Las Vegas. We have some information that we can't tell that on YouTube, because otherwise the video get straight blocked. How his personal life is or was at the time, and it's online as well. So Lauren was basically having the house for herself, but she did at that time switch between living by her mother, which was a really kind woman, and that lived about 20 minutes away, and from Steve's house. So she did switch back and forth, because they already had back then a lot of arguments, and it did not work out that well. Lauren was a teenager, and unfortunately not a kind or good one, but we see that then a bit ahead in the video. So anyway, I got the call on a bit later, as Steve was back and saw the burglary, and it was already clear that Lauren is involved. So the police came. I was still in Switzerland. I was thinking if I even should return to USA, or if I should simply cancel the immigration, the green card, and just stay home in Switzerland. You see, I'm already still again upset about the whole matter, even after 14 years. Anyway, my mother did convince me that I should go at least one time back to USA to see what is left after the burglary, to collect the items that I own, and stay a bit, spend a bit time in USA, especially in the nature, and make up my mind about the future that I wanna do. And that I did. Thank God I did it, because without my mother, that would quite likely be having a complete different impact in my life than how it did turn out. And again, you need to keep focusing on the good things. You can't give up if something bad happens in life. To me, in my life, a lot of bad things did happen, especially over in Switzerland. A horrible, terrible place to be, and you just can't give up. At least not too easy. You need to fight through it. So anyway, I did go back to USA. I saw the damage. As usually, I made a video of the room prior I leave, just to show mama as well, how it looks there, what we all have, how it is, how, give an impression. And of course, I had that video still, and then I made a video of after the burglary, so we saw one-to-one what is missing, what is damaged, how the situation is. Anyway, so of course, Steve had nothing better to do than to stand with his lousy daughter, a criminal, a drug addict, and of course we did split up. It was not possible to have a company, for me at least, to have a company with a criminal, with somebody that supports a criminal, because that gives sooner or later problems. I did learn that in Switzerland as I worked by the police and all that. That is how that is. Anyway, of course the police did come. They took on fingerprints and all that, but at the end, unfortunately, not much came out of it, at least not out of the fingerprint. But then Josh, basically the middle brother of those three, did get caught by a local pawn shop / gun dealer trying to sell magazines and ammunition, and of course the local gun dealer did know that Josh is a criminal, a well-known criminal, so he did inform the police. Actually, the police was located right next door to that store where he tried to pawn it off, and he got straight arrested there. And of course, the ammunition and the magazines got recognized that they were from me. A little side note: I often do nail polish on the ceiling, as a sealing on the primer pocket of the ammunition. So it was simple and easy to see and to recognize that is my ammunition. The criminals did put it in Ziploc bags. They got rid of the ammo boxes and all that, quite likely about fingerprints. That would have made it easier, but anyway, that's just a side note, and it did not help anyhow either. So I saw the video from Josh in the prison getting asked some serious question by the police, and it was completely clear that he just plain simple lied to all of it. So basically a hardcore criminal, and yeah. So how did the connection come about the burglary, all the inside knowledge that nobody gonna be in the house? There is only one way. Lauren did tell the criminals how it is, that Steve is gone. I was even gone earlier, so that the house is empty, and they could ransack the belongings. Lauren at that time was best friend with Sarah, the youngest sibling of those three criminals. I saw her at the house minimum 3 times, so that was connected there. Josh was at the house minimum 2 times as well, bringing the illegal weed drugs and quite likely other drugs as well. Chris, the oldest brother, I never saw at the house, but they all stick together, the whole family there, except the oldest sister are criminals, and they have a criminal record to the day. And yeah, quite likely they all three did it. And Josh just wanted to grab his part of the stolen items and cash it by that pawn shop, and got busted. So there was already the connection there. Josh did actually admit that he got the stuff from Lauren, that Lauren had a full trunk load of stolen items, mainly firearms, ammunition, knives, some cash, and all that. Basically all what drug addict criminals like, you know, smaller firearms that they can easy trade or cash against drugs and all that. So of course Lauren was asked by the police too. Of course she did lie anyway, and that did not lead any further, so we could not get Sarah, we could not get Chris or anybody else that actually was with it. There was no way that Josh did it alone. He was not too smart or too bright. Anyways, he wasn't the brightest candle on the cake there, as we say. That could not do it. He would not have had the inside aid that Steve and myself were out of town in different locations, as I said. So the connection here is completely clear. Plus the burglary did include breaking open doors. So he quite likely could not do that alone either. So he had help, quite likely help from his older brother Chris there. He is pretty strong, how it looks. Optically, Sarah could not do that. She was quite likely just looking that nobody shows up unexpected, or that the neighbors did not see it. Anyway, so police did what they did, what they could. Wasn't much or much worth it, unfortunately. For them, I say it was just a burglary like 10,000 others that the insurance should pay and finish, you know. So like this, unfortunately, feedback is rather negative. Then we saw the judge. Lauren was underage. He was already adult, and yeah, basically they got nothing by the judge. It was a bit surreal experience for me by that judge in the Atlanta area where that happened. That judge did not make impression at all. Lauren, as an example, did say that she would like to be a history teacher, history professor, and that judge did believe that and say, yeah, you can do that and all that, you know. Completely off the reality of the real world, which we're gonna see in this video as well, how that did go on as we talk about karma. Josh was in a similar way, so basically they got 3 times nothing, unfortunately, for that crime. But wait, karma is coming. It may take years, but it's gonna come, and that is part of the video that gonna help many other victims that gonna come. So then, of course, I moved out. I got on with my life. You can't live with people that are criminals. You can't be staying in a place that got burglared, because if it works out once, they come for a second helping. That is always the same. And sure enough, a while later, Steve was again out on vacation, and he got burglared there again. That crime I did not study. I cannot say who was involved or in which direction it goes, but it did happen. Then we did not hear much for a while, and 5 years later, stolen Glock 19 from me got recovered by a home invasion by a completely different criminal group. So quite likely one of them did trade that Glock against drugs, and those criminals did a home invasion with it. That was actually a really rough crime, so multiple criminals did armed force their way into a home in the Atlanta area, and they terrorized an older couple that were in there. And that's all what I want to say to it. They got arrested, and they face long time prison charges, and of course my Glock got recovered and secured, and I got that back. There is a video about that matter. I'm gonna link that in the comments and the description if you want to see that, as I did go and pick it up. That was after it was shown by the judge as they got convicted, those criminals. And I hope all of them that they are still in prison, because hardcore criminals not gonna change. Anyway, then we did not hear much anymore either. None of those people did ever really apologize or do anything to fix up the damage, which was immense back then. And then I just watch a bit how they do in life, and of course because all four of them are drug addicts, they did go in the prison and out of the prison, and there a bit of therapy, and there a bit of a crime, and there a bit, you know, just the usual low life crime that they did. And prison time all the time, you know, sometimes longer, sometimes less, and you know. And then December 2019, Josh, typical criminal, got a overdoses. Zack. Karma, zack, dead. Finish. So Josh was gone, dead. And then, of course, we learn how the family is. We see how the friends are and all that, how the society reacts, you know. And I'm aware that some of the people don't know his criminal history, but yeah, basically they say he was a really great example of society, and he did so well in life, and he was such a good person, and you know, the usual blah 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 that is completely off the reality. And if they would have checked the crimes what he did, or talk with the victims, the many victims that he made over his short period of life, he did pass away relative young. That is just beyond belief. But we see karma, or life, or how you want to call it, did fix it. So overdoses, finish. And then the others were still doing drugs in and out of the prison and all that. And then, zack, on May 2023, Sarah had overdoses. You know, not even the brother could give an example, so zack, finish. Karma did strike, finish. And I'm glad, and I say that openly, I'm glad that karma did strike, because no more crime, no more drugs, no more victims, finish. And of course the same happened again, that the whole thing did happen again, and I'm gonna talk about that in part 2, because we reached the 20 minutes limit.